Hello, everyone. I think I'm live. Let's see if we can find it. Hoping it is. This new coming live on Facebook is new to me. There I am. Cool. Hello, I'm Ali. It's so lovely to have you here with me. I feel very humbled. And I won't lie to you, as you've heard a few of the authors say. We're not used to sticking our heads out there and being here in front of so many people. So for me, my life is continuing to evolve, and that's part of me leaning into those uncomfortable areas. And Facebook is new to me. Zoom's not. I've been doing that for years, but getting this technology between phone and Zoom is really interesting for me. So I'm here to share some time with you. I feel very honoured. I felt incredibly honoured to be part of this Threshold Authors Summit and to be part of the vessel that Tash at Ashwin Publishing has held for us. It's been incredible to witness the transformative journeys of all of us. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying the summit, and as each author shares their hearts really with you and their soul's purpose and their work. And my time with you is to do the same, just to share a little bit about who I am and what sort of inspires me each and every day and has inspired me for years. So my topic today is about the Great Threshold. And it is that from birthing humans to birthing ourselves. And I thought about that title because it's a topic I've talked about quite a lot in my work. And I wanted to just sort of really highlight that if you've never given birth to a human, it still applies, because you've given birth to so many other projects in your life, or so many other, you've been a female role model for somebody there in your life. And so it's sort of an interesting one, because people sort of think, oh, is she going to talk about menopause, or is she going to talk about this? And what I like to talk about is you and who you are and how you feel, and are you aware of how you're feeling and you are in the world. So I think that I've got here, and I can sort of see some things there. I'm just checking in and hoping that, forgive me if I don't see any of your questions. I'm not used to this type of thing there, but I promise that I'll check and answer any questions later. I'd rather be here with you, talking to you and connecting with you. So a little bit about my story. If you've read my story in Threshold, then you would know that I've been on an interesting journey, like all of us. And the big hurdles for my life have been very much around physicality. And, today is a big stimulus for me. So if you see me stutter or have a face contortion, or if you see me take a drink, I know that that's helping me to swallow. So full disclosure here of who I am and the physicalities that I still have that I deal with. But what brings me to here, and why I was so incredibly inspired to be part of Threshold, was to hopefully let other women know how incredible they are, and that those inner whispers of what they're capable of creating are their truths. So it's about understanding that we do get to this stage in our life, and it doesn't have to be, in your 50s. It can be in your 40s or your 30s or your 20s. But I believe that we have all of these different periods in our life where we're birthing the new us. And I'm not really, the word rebirth doesn't necessarily sit with me personally, because I've never gone back. I'm always going in evolution. So for me, the great birthing of who I am has been a lifelong process from the moment I came back into this world. And what happened for me was I lost myself. I came in with a very clear understanding of why I was here, even though I couldn't speak and couldn't, really communicate it. I understood so much more than this brain could cope with, but it always felt good here. And then through the processes of growing and being a child and going to school and having peers and then having, things in life happen to you, I kept hiding her until I hid her so far down inside of me, I forgot she existed. And then I had the Great Awakening at 30, my first Saturn return in the car, as I say in my chapter. And boy, was it a turning point. It was such a turning point. And now, as I'm, in my 50s, approaching my second Saturn return, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen when, in a few years' time. So what do I do and what do I love to share with you? As I said, I'm very much around helping you rediscover who you are. And for years, I have struggled with what do I do when people say, but what do you do, Ali? And it's like, well, whatever the woman in front of me needs. And what it is it's about, I'm a bit like a receptionist. From a young age, and definitely now because I'm standing in the full glory of who I am and what I'm doing, is I feel very humbled to be able to hear your higher aspects. And so a lot of the time, you're not actually hearing your guidance because this world has you so stimulated. And the stimulation of the senses of touch and sight and talking and hearing can really take away from who we really are. They're like little post-it notes that just keep getting put on you every day until you end up walking around just so covered in everyone else's opinions and situations that you forget who's inside. And as a young mum, I realized that, something had to change. And so I had this moment. I want to tell you this story that's going to help really solidify why I do what I do. I had this moment, and my daughter's used to me telling this story now. She's, not 7 anymore, but she was around 7. And she came home and she'd had a really bad day at school. Like she just had one of those days that every kid goes through. And I was giving her a hug and I was telling her how much I loved her. And I told her that she can do anything in her world that she wants to do. And she looked at me with such this strength inside of her that was piercing from her eyes. And she said, but you don't believe that about you, Mum. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I thought, this kid, this beautiful little girl, has seen straight through her mother's insecurities. And that day I vowed I wasn't going to give my kids lip service anymore. So the 4 of my children have been brought up knowing that I didn't always get it right. I wished probably at times I'd done it differently, but that I'd always given it the best I could. And that I always was constantly growing in my own self-belief. Now that hasn't changed. I'm still doing that. And even being here today, it's obviously taken, self-belief to get here and speak in front of you. And I just love that. I'm just looking at what's going on here. It's just so beautiful, what everybody's saying. So thank you. It's about knowing that you're always going to be believing in growing in your self-belief. But if you don't take the time to nurture it and you keep putting it off, you're doing yourself a disservice. And more importantly, you're doing the world a disservice because there's only one of you, one beautiful, incredible, empowered, unique you. And in my, what I share, I call it the unique universal signature. And the thing with that is to understand that we'll look at it from a signature perspective that you write. If you went to the bank and you did your signature to get some money out, I'm sure you've done that. You don't really do it often these days, but you've got a signature. And you certainly wouldn't think about going in to the bank and forging someone else's signature. But yet we don't realize that we are doing that when we're not being truly us. If we're not connecting to who we are and honoring who we have uniquely come to earth to be, we're forging a distortion of who we show the world. And that can get dangerous because we can slip up and we can really, come up, just really create a life that we don't want to live, or perceptions that people have of us. And that starts to distort how and who we think we are. So when you start to realize there's only one of you that's come to the planet for a very good reason, and when you take the time each day to get to know her, you get to then start to intuitively know who you are, and more importantly, who you're not. And when you start to realize who you're not, you start to really shine in who you are. Now, why that's important is because it enables us to inspire others. And that's the beauty of sharing what I share and what I love to do, walk beside women. I don't ever say to any of the ladies that I work with that I'm leading you, or I know the way, or having a yoga and Ayurvedic background, that I am a guru, because I can tell you now, I'm nobody's guru, okay? I'm a normal mum and a grandmother, or as normal as us mothers get. I'm a grandmother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, and I have ups and downs of life and all around. And I always am trying to be the best person I can be. And so when I am working with women, I'm walking beside them. I'm there with you, just helpfully guiding, maybe giving you some strategies and tools that can help you to perhaps define who you are. So I hope that's making sense. And thank you to everyone who is watching. I'm so grateful to have you here. So in a busy world that always has demands, you can't change your world, okay? And this is something that began when I had that epiphany with my 7-year-old daughter. And I started to think, well, how can I do this differently? And I realized how much I was patterning what I'd been shown by those who I had around me. And so when you start to forge your own, your own path, you get a lot of that. And it's called some people call it the imposter syndrome. I used to call it the unwanted guest. It'd be like, oh, the unwanted guest is back. And it'd be my mind telling me I didn't do it right, should have done it better. Classic example for me as a yoga teacher, I'd get cranky with my kids. Mind you, I had 4 kids, ranging, 11-year or 10-year gap between first and last. And you're there going, you're not listening to me, and you end up yelling. And then I'd beat myself up for hours afterwards thinking, oh, here I am meant to be this peaceful Zen yoga teacher, and I've just screamed at my kids. I was my own worst enemy, because this thing would be going, you should have done it differently. You should have done it differently. So then I started to notice this unwanted guest in the house of my body. And then I started to unravel and realize the separation between the heart and the mind. And it really solidified for me to understand who I was as a person when I did my Ayurvedic training, become an Ayurvedic practitioner. I delved into the psychology. And although I don't sort of, really pull from one particular aspect, I pull from all of my modalities that I've delved in the years, as well as obviously my intuition and higher self and the team that work with me, which are extraordinary. I'm forever grateful. But what it helped me realize is that here is the true student of life. So in here, in this little place here, is the real me. So join me if you can. If you haven't got your phone in your hand, just put your hand there, even if it's just one hand, if you've got the phone, and just feel your own heartbeat. And breathe in and breathe out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose And again, just out through your mouth. And one more. Now, can you feel your heart beating? I can feel mine. It's a bit fast with being here on the camera. But can you feel that? That's the real you. Have you noticed how your nervous system or your body doesn't feel quite where it did a couple of minutes ago? Because you've dropped in to you. Okay? You've dropped into you. So if this is a student of life, what's this? Well, in my world, I like to call it the instrument. So if you think of it like a guitar, which I love to tinker in. I can't say I'm a good player, but I like to play with it. In here, if that's the instrument, so if I pretend this is my guitar, and here's the real me, I have to learn how to play this well. Because as you know, anyone who is holding any type of instrument, if they can play it well, it's a beautiful melody. But if they've got no idea, it's hideous. And so what happens is when we start to really spend those moments each day sitting with ourselves, dropping into who we really are, not who we think we are, but who we feel inside, and we start to create that environment every day, it becomes very easy to hear the two dialogues. Does that make sense? So one of the things that I think is interesting is people often say to me, but how do I know the difference between here and here? Okay, how can I have all these thoughts and feelings and conversations with myself. A simple question, or simple answer, I should say. Here will never speak harshly. It will never be negative. It will be truthful. Here isn't the bad guy. Okay, this isn't the bad guy. Some, refer to it as the ego. Some refer to it as the mindset. Some refer to it as the mind. It doesn't matter what you call it. But what it is it's a hologram of all of your experiences and ancestral beliefs and DNA patterning that's come through. So what happened for me, and I share this in the program that I have, is that one day in the yoga studio, I had this moment. I wasn't doing anything exciting. I was getting ready for class, which is exciting, but you know what I mean. I was in reception and just, everything was ready. And I was just there. And all of a sudden, I literally looked down at my hip. Don't ask me why, but I looked down at my right hip and I went, oh my God, you're my best friend. You're not actually trying to make my life hard. You're trying to get me to step up. And this whole facade around the ego and the mind and all of this BS fell away. And all of a sudden I realized this mindset, this ego, this whatever you want to call it, is like a personal trainer. So when I've thought that it's beating me up, it's actually telling me, come on, how much do you want to be this life? How much do you want to create a beautiful world? You can't just talk and give lip service about it being a kind and peaceful world. Get off your bum and do something about it. And it was like this massive awakening that just went kaboom. And ever since then, if it starts, I talk to it in the sense of, oh, thanks for that. Thank you. Don't need you today. I've got it covered. And it comes back here. It's like, yep, no, don't worry, I've got it covered. And automatically, over time, I'm telling you, it didn't happen overnight. Trust me, but it's like that Pantene ad from years ago. Didn't happen overnight, but it will happen. Was it Pantene? I think it was, that shampoo ad. But what it is it's about the relationship that you start to build. Okay, this relationship that you start to understand the thoughts, and then you get to sift through the thoughts and decide, what is it? Where does this come from? Oh, hang on, that sounds like such and such in my life. Or, oh, that's from when I was a kid and I got bullied, or that's from that relationship. And all of a sudden you realize the hologram that's being placed out on the screen and in here, but it's not coming from here. I hope I'm making some sort of sense and you don't think they need to call all, the crazy dudes. But what I can tell you is my life has continually expanded into such joy and such an enriched way of living that I can't even put it into words. Hopefully you can just see it in the way that I'm sitting here with you now. Life is meant to be lived, loved, enjoyed. And to be honest, I think we've all got a bit too serious. And so we have to deal with serious situations. But if we're really connected to who we are, we know that they are situations and they're not who we are. They're environments that we're dealing with. They're times that will pass. And when we anchor deep in here, we can do anything. We can rise, we can heal our bodies multiple times if you have to, but you can do it. It gets a bit tiring after a while, but hey, I'm hoping I don't have to do any more. But it's all about how you approach yourself. So what I'd like to do now is, again, reconnect you. Not because I'm anything special, but because I'm going to hold space so that you can do it for yourself. Okay? So when you're ready, just close your eyes, pop your hands here, and if your mind is going crazy, look at something. Okay? Don't think you have to close your eyes. Just look, breathe, and just stay focused on one thing. I'm looking at a print on the wall, but I'm going to close my eyes and feel your heartbeat and feel your breath. And as you exhale, soften your shoulders. And it's almost like you feel every exhalation, you're just dropping away from the mind. It's like there's a fuel gauge that's full up here above your head. And every exhalation, you're just dropping down. Just dropping down. And you're just slowly letting that tension and the busyness just fade away. How does that feel? And the busy mind will keep going. And if it's really busy, just say this simple sentence inside your head as you do it. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. And just say that inside your own mind and heart. And feel if you can now feel a little bit more space around you. How does that space feel for you? It might feel really strange if you're not used to doing this. And just breathe and allow and experience. Get to know that feeling. Does it feel awkward? Sometimes it can feel downright scary because you stop. You actually take a moment to pause and to just be still. And just feel that. And then when you're ready, just gently bring your chin down towards your chest. Open your eyes and come back to the screen. How do you feel? How's your mind? Yeah, that's right, Mona. This stuff isn't who we are. We're not any of these situations. We're not anything we've gone through. We are so much more than that. We are constantly growing and evolving, being stronger, being more resilient. And not only did we ask to be here at this time, but we were blessed and graced to be on the planet at a time of great awakening. And that great awakening is one that starts inside ourselves. It begins with, what do we do each and every day? What are we bringing to the world? I think it was our divine Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. That really resonated with me as a small child, and I understand why now. Each time you take the time, and it doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be, anything that's set in concrete. But if you can just spend a few moments, a few breaths, multiple times or twice a day, once a day, where you just sit and you connect with who you are by doing, just being with yourself, you'll get to know who you are. You'll really get to know who you are. And I like to share it as the royal guest. And I'm smiling because the girls in my program, they like this one. But what it's about is that, imagine if you had the most regal, incredible goddess wanted to come and visit you every day. She wanted to check in. She's like your fairy godmother. She just wants to check in, connect. How you doing down there or in there in life? You're doing a really good job. She wants to just be there with you. And this beautiful regal goddess is there every day for you, and you just completely ignore her. Every day she turns up at your front door for a cup of tea and you just ignore her. I'm too busy. Sorry, go away. Come back next week. You treat her like a traveling saleswoman. You don't, just don't have time for you. Sorry. And she keeps coming back and she keeps coming back because she knows one day you're going to find the time to connect with her. That regal goddess is you, the real you. And every day, every moment, you are given an opportunity to connect with her. So in this great time of birthing, and as I say to you, I know in my title it had from birthing humans to birthing ourselves, but that was sort of also to really give a little bit of a kick to what I'm talking about, in the sense that this birthing process that we go through is so beautiful, but we're being told it's not. We're being told that, it's a horrible time and that your body does this and your body does that. And I can tell you, the women that I've worked with for years and years, as soon as we really get in and help them support why they're receiving those feelings and emotions and symptoms and relationships and things, they really start to communicate clearly with themselves. And when you have clear communication with you, wow, does your world change. How you see the world, how you interact with the world, what you choose to do in the world. So it's that communication skill. So when we birth ourselves, we learn to listen to our bodies, to not ignore it. your body's not out to give you a hard time. If it's got a sore hip or it's got a sore whatever, it's like a warning light on your dash of your car, the oil light. Excuse me, are you noticing, this is happening? And I'll give you a classic example would be your shoulder. Your shoulder's starting to hurt. You've got no reason. You don't know why. Well, your shoulder's probably hurting because you've probably got too much weight on your shoulders in what you're trying to carry in the world. You're not dealing with that tension in your body. And so don't get cranky at the shoulder. Connect and work your way through it. What are the things you can change? How can you change your communication? Things like that. It becomes a really empowered way of living, and it becomes an incredibly inspiring way as well. So yeah, I'm just so grateful for the messages and how many are here. And I can see I've got some of my beautiful authors here as well. And that's beautiful to just have them here. That means so much to me. And that is the one thing that I think that what we've done has been able to bring like-minded women together. And Tash, here's a shout out for you, because what you do is extraordinary, because you get these like-minded women who are all sort of, I don't know what I'd say, off in the desert somewhere, wondering that there's a tribe somewhere. And then you put out the beacon and the tribe comes. And then the next thing you know, you've got all these beautiful women around you who are so incredibly believing in you and you're believing in them. And then you've got these friendships that are just, they're just incredible. And so that's why your unique self deserves to shine. But if you don't get to know her, you won't, really know how to, I suppose the word I'd use would be truly navigate and step into your empowered self. It's really, it is a really lovely way to live. It really is. So yeah, I can see, I can see those wonderful, they're lovely. It is just so beautiful to see so much support. I'm really grateful. So birthing yourself, as I said, is a lifelong process. And I don't mean that to sound like, oh my God, it never ends. It's evolution. It truly is evolution. And that is the beauty of understanding that we are here to create that space. And that when the world comes in too much, too close to us, it's about us taking the time, sitting with ourselves and allowing it to go back. And one of the things I thought I would touch on, having taught meditation and breathing, pranayama, whatever fancy names you want to give it, to so many people for so many years, is there is no right or wrong. Okay. And if I offend anyone out there, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be. But I've always been a bit of a disruptor in anything I do, in the sense of, I like to say, hey, we need to break down these barriers of it has to be done this way and it has to be done that way. And so if you're wanting to create a quiet time each day, you don't have to give it a label of meditation. It is your time, your space, your cup of tea with your goddess, whatever you want to call it, your sacred space, whatever word comes to you. And sacred space is a term that I've been using for years, because I always felt that when I sat with me, it was incredibly humbling and I felt it was very sacred. And so whatever you want to choose to call this time, just start, okay? And the best thing is to do it, with your breath. And that way, if you're, on a walk and you decide to sit and be still, or you might be stuck at the traffic lights, you can stop and you can just take a moment, a couple of breaths and connect, drop in to here rather than here. Okay, so I hope that's helpful to you. I did have notes, as usual. I wrote 5 things down and I haven't looked at it once. So if I've forgotten anything, I'll probably talk to you about it next time. I don't think that there's anything that was that, I haven't even opened the book. Isn't that just, that's so like me. I don't know. I think I've said everything that I thought might help. I hope I have. The main thing is, as I said at the beginning, you're not broken. You don't have to change. You are so incredibly divine and unique inside you that it's about letting go of who you're not. And the only way that you can truly let go of who you're not is to know who you are in here and start to work with her and get to know her and get to have a relationship with her, so that you can then clear out the closet of what you don't want to be and who you don't want to be. I have a term, and I'm not the only person who uses it, comparisonitis. And I think if I break it down for you in English, itis means an acute case. So whether it's an acute case of tonsillitis, appendicitis, or comparisonitis, it's an acute case of something. And I think in this day and age, we have this, this comparing, we compare our mothering and our motherhood, we compare our relationships and, where we are in our careers and things like that. And a lot of the entrepreneurial women that I work with who are mums and, these beautiful international entrepreneurial women, I say to them all the time, it's okay. You don't have to juggle this. You don't have to find the balance. For the mums who are entrepreneurial and grandmothers, or for the mums that are just there, the women that are just amazing and beautiful, and you don't have to juggle it. But if you find the time to center, you'll have your balance that you're looking for. When you center and you connect, you stop comparing. And the minute you compare yourself to someone else, not only have you done yourself a disservice, but you've also done someone else a disservice, because they didn't ask you to compare. Like, imagine one of your girlfriends, and your girlfriend, met up with you. Has a girlfriend ever said to you, now I want you to be just like me? Okay, I want you to mother like me. I want you to be a partner like me. And I want you to do my job the way I do it. Has anyone ever had anyone honestly say that to them? No, I don't think so. But somewhere in here, in this mind, we compare in the hologram. And so what starts to happen is we lose ourselves again, and we start to compare, and we start to think we're not doing a good enough job and they do it so much better than us. Whereas the really important thing is to come back to who we are, know who I am, and know I'm doing the best I can at the time with what I've got. Such an ease and grace comes to your life. It's life-changing. So yeah. So keep coming back to connecting. Please come back to knowing how incredible you are. Please come back to knowing that you've got everything you need inside of you, and that perhaps you just need the tools or strategies or someone to hold the sacred space and walk with you while you sift through what to let go of. And it's a beautiful journey. Please don't ever think that the journey of self-discovery is horrible or painful. It doesn't need to be. But what happens is when you connect with your heart, and this is one of the ways I often explain it to people who just come into contact with me, and I suppose because I've sometimes called a counselor or a therapist, and they say, oh, I've been to therapy and I've done this, and oh, it's really traumatic, and they wanted me to talk about this and they wanted me to talk about that. And here's how I answer it. Inside of you is a divine inner light that is brilliant, perfect, incredible. Everything you've gone through in your life has covered that light. My job, to help you connect so that you are aware of that light and stoke that flame in your heart till it burns so bloody bright, everything else disappears and burns off. And you are left with one incredible, sparkling, brilliant, divine light on this earth. And I'm humbled every day to do that. So remember, you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed, but you might need that, support. And you've got some incredible support in here with these incredible authors and the summit. And listen to your heart. It'll resonate who to work with. You'll hear it. You'll feel it. It'll know right. You'll know it's right. And sit with that. And yeah. And I think it'll be an extraordinary journey for you. So thank you for sharing space, and thank you so much for such beautiful, beautiful, just so much support and love. I'm so grateful. If you've put a question up there and I haven't answered it, I promise I will keep an eye on the group, and we'll get back to you. I promise I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. And, to those of you who are, you're just not sure where to start, just start. Just right now, this minute, you can start this journey by just breathing and popping your hands on your heart and knowing that you're here to do something special. Okay. So in wrapping up, I have many modalities and different things that are ways you can gain support from me. Running through a few of them. There's an Inner Light podcast, which is on all of your platforms, Spotify and Apple and Amazon and all of those things, and Insight Timer. And that's free, okay? And within Inner Light, it's my SIVA work, my service work. It is just there to support you to keep connecting. You'll find breathing aspects, like breathing techniques and ideas for bringing the mind into grounded aspects. You'll find visualizations, my journey work that I'm humbled to do, where I take you through the realms and take you on a beautiful visualization, which they're not really meditations. They're more a journey and a transformative experience. And I obviously have my website, aligarrison.com. I have a few ebooks that are floating around. I, of course, have Threshold, which I sell Brenda, God love her. She got her copy. I haven't got my copies yet. I just can't wait to hold. I'm so old-fashioned. I just want to hold that book. So yes, I'm on Threshold. And of course, I have the Transformation Project, which I'm very proud of the community that we hold. And the Transformation Project is a woman's story. It is a beautiful community of like-minded women. We're about to celebrate our 4th birthday. It was originally given to me back around 2017, I think it was. And then I started to have to play with technology. How the hell do I bring this idea to fruition? And now, yeah, we're about to celebrate our 4th birthday, and we have women all around the globe, and it's a beautiful, beautiful community of women who are their greatest project, as I call it. And that's what it is. You are your greatest project that you will ever undertake in this world. It is about understanding that, yes, you come and you have your family and you have this beautiful existence, but the legacy that you leave on this planet is your life and how you lived it and what light you were able to bring to it. So Transformation Project is about helping you do that. It's about helping you where I take you through all of the different tools. It's online. And one of the greatest, I think, for me, and it humbles me, and I actually had a few tears this morning after the live that we do each week for Project, how humbled I am to watch these beautiful women grow. But I think the most humbling thing for me is I can see that quite a few of them are here watching this, supporting me, because they're just so lovely. and that our first member is a continual member. She just renews, and as over 70% of our members continue each year, because they've found such value as they continue to grow. Project continues to grow as I continue to grow and as the community grows. So if anything that I offer you, can offer you, interests you, please feel free to drop in the comments. You can just pop in the word transform, and we can then reach out to you and get on a call and have a connect chat. Which are all complimentary. I do them each week. We've had them closed for a few months while I did Threshold. And we open our intake to Project next week, actually, after having it closed for a few months, to allow me to not only heal physically on a deeper level, but to also really give Threshold the integrity and the grace that I believed it deserved. The other thing I've got too is this little ebook, which is called Returning to You. It's back to front, I know, on your screen. I apologize. And this is an ebook that I wrote, I think it was last year. I adjusted it. And it's just got some little helpful hints and things like that. So if you pop in the comments transform, and you can just write ebook under that if that's what you want, or just transform and we'll get back to you. And of course, jump on the website and then you can have a little look around there as well, aligarrison.com. So as I finish, I'd like to again bring you back in here. So we pop our hands on our hearts and breathe in. And as you breathe out, just really feel that heartbeat. Let that heartbeat remind you that you're alive, you're effervescent. You have energy and soul and sass moving through your bloodstream. You've got this incredible light codes in you, this DNA structure that's continually upgrading and expanding. Just breathe and sit in that space and smile. And a big breath out. And a big smile in your heart. And one that comes into your face. No one gave you the manual to life. I keep looking for it, but I haven't found it yet. So be kind to you, please. You're learning new things every day. So enjoy your life. And if I can be of any service to you, it would be an honor. And I can't thank you enough for sharing space with me in this time. I feel very grateful. And I send lots of love down the line to my friends and authors who have gone before me on the summit. And I send lots of love and just so much light to all of the authors to come for the rest of the week. So if you've got any friends who you think, hey, they don't know about this summit, then get out there and tell them so that they can gain the benefit of the wisdom that's in here with all of our authors. Thanks again. Have a great week. And I hope you keep shining bright and I hope you keep smiling, knowing how amazing you are. Thanks for sharing sacred space. Bye. Oh, that'd be right. I'm trying to end it and it won't end. Me and technology. Bye.